Hello students, today we are going to see a game between Morphy and Paulsen in the year 1857. Let's start the game. The game started e4, e5, knight f3, and now knight c6. And now bishop to b, e5 and c4 are the main moves. But in this game, White gave a try at the 4 knights defense, which is knight c3. Now knight f6, bishop b5, bishop to c5. And after bishop to c5, White executed a little trick here by playing. Actually, here first White castled. Alright. Here castle is the main move, castle. And now White executed a little trick by knight into e5. Okay, this is a classic trick that if your opponent does has like this kind of structure, you can take on knight into e5, knight into e4. Now takes idea is d4, winning the piece, and also we gain the center. That's the idea here. So, but in the game, Morphy played rook e8, sacrificing a pawn, wanting this, he wants this knight to go elsewhere, and his idea is that if the knight goes back to f3, then knight into e4, and after knight into e4, then there are things d5, knight c3 here, etc. So that's why after rook to e8 comes knight into c6, d into c6, and now the thing is that you opened my queen file, and now my rook is also open, and knight into e4 is a threat. So I want to take your pawn. Bishop to c4. Well, idea of bishop c4 is that if knight into e4, then knight into e4 is a blunder, because here we take on e4, rook into e4, and now bishop into f7 check, with the idea of king into f7, queen f3 check, and then you lose this rook, and now I am an exchange and a pawn up. So because of this trick, in this position after knight into c6, it takes bishop c4. Black didn't play knight into e4 but played b5, attacking the bishop, forcing it to make a choice to go on b3 or to go on e2. d3 is not quite an option because you are blocking your pawn, and now knight g4 is coming with the crushing threat of queen h4, and that's why here queen f3 has to be played, the knight e5, queen to g2, knight into d3, queen into d3, queen into d3, c into d3, and now b4. And this position, though white is a pawn up, this is very significantly better for black because of black's positional advantages. Black has the bishop pair, white has a bad pawn structure, bad piece development. So that's why bishop d3 is not quite an option. So after b5 comes bishop to e2, and after bishop to e2 comes knight into e4. Now idea of knight into e4 is here to play. There is the move knight into f2. There is also queen d4. So white just took on e4, rook into e4, and now we reach a position where this is equal material, but now black's pawns are doubled on the queen side, and those are potential weaknesses. So bishop f3, rook e6, defending the pawn on c6, and now came the bad mistake. Now came, we can say, the almost decisive mistake of this game. And now it is what is the mistake? Okay, here it's a very logical move to just play continue d3, and then we want to play c3 and then d4, and we develop the bishop on f4, and then we play c3 d4. But white did it directly by playing c3. Now this is not this is a good idea, but it is not well executed, because we should play first d3, opening the bishop, and then play c3. But what is the problem of c3? You need to pause the video and think what should you play. Okay, so here there's the move queen to d3, which is a good move, because now we block this d pawn, and now the square is blocked. So that's why after queen to d3, the bishop is the queen side is rather powerless, and also the d3 square is quite weak, and the queen is active, and all of a sudden black is slightly better. So this c3 move is a mistake. And now queen d3, and now comes b4. White, this is also inaccuracy, because after b4, bishop to b6, and now actually white with b4 wanted to expand on the queen side and make way for his queen side pieces, but b4 further limits the bishop. Now firstly we limited it on d3, and now you are playing b4, means the scope with having this a3 to f8 diagonal bishop a3 ideas are gone. So this bishop is completely useless now. So is this rook. This rook is limited by the bishop, and also the queen is having difficulties finding squares, and the rook also can't develop. So this is a bunch of problems caused by just the c3 move. So bishop to b6. Now bishop to b6, logical move. We move our bishop from attack, and now we have a great position where we are pressuring here on the king side. We are also good in the queen side, blocking opponent's pieces. We overall have a better position. Now was played in the game a4. Okay, a4. Now a4, the idea is apparent. White wants to play a5 and trap black's bishop. But now here simple b into a4, queen into a4, and now white gets back to reality that now he is threatening bishop to c6, but now here black plays very Black can play very simple bishop b7, defend the pawn, play rook h8, control the file. Then there are many threats around there. So it isn't easy how you should defend this position. I mean, this position is like minus 1 point. Yeah, this is very bad, and even minus 1.1 is it accurate computer defense. This position needs precise defense to fight even for a draw. But such precise defense is very difficult for of the player as it proved in the game. So queen into a4, though bishop b7 is the best move, Morphy played bishop d7, a dubious move giving his advantage away. Actually, a mistake it is. It gives his advantage away for a moment, because now comes the idea of queen a6, and now white is exchanging the queen, and if you move the queen, then the apparent d4 will follow, and now white is better, because your queen side structure is bad. I mean, white is slightly better. So that's why here bishop d7 is a mistake. Although white here did a big mistake by playing rook to a2 and dropped all their advantage, this would be a blunder, because white was just so good, and now he literally gave black a win, because black is just winning in this position with rook h8. Morphy played rook h8, and now how is black even winning? Okay. First things first, black has all his pieces in the game. And then second thing, queen into f1 is a threat. Yes, believe it or not. h3, queen into f1 check. King into f1, rook e1 is a checkmate. So that's why queen into f1 is a threat. Now, so queen a6 was played. Right idea, but executed at the wrong time. Okay, so he repeated his mistake and executed it on the wrong time again, as he did the c3 d4 idea. So that's why here queen a6. That's why here after queen a6, Morphy should try to punish it. I mean, if the position is so lost, one doesn't even need to punish them. So Morphy needs to do something. So that's why here in this position, after queen to a6, what should you play? Pause the video and think. Okay, if you saw the move queen into f3, then hats off to you. Such a brilliant move, because queen into f3 does the thing. It is a queen sacrifice for a bishop, but it is a defending bishop. See, here the thing of the white position is that see, firstly, white has no defenders. He has two rooks, one queen, one bishop, but he has no defenders on the king side. He took g into f3, and now he has nothing. That's why here Morphy cleverly removed the g pawn, so that now when white is playing, white has just no defenders here to protect his weakened king side. Black, so that's the thought process into queen into f3. Okay, black retreat wasn't an option, because d4 and then thing, and even white thought that he had it, that Morphy didn't play well, screw his advantage, and then but Morphy played this spectacular queen into f3, g into f3, and now there's no defender, and I have one piece, two rooks and two bishops ready to attack. Now just look at the flow when the pieces get in the game. Rook g6 check, king h1 is forced, and now bishop to h3. Now it's attacking the rook and also threatening. Here for sample I'll show you what is threatening. Let's say he plays d4, bishop g2 check, king g1, and now bishop into f3 is a mate. That's why after d4, and that's why after bishop to h3, rook d1 was played, making space for the king to go on the king run to f1. As see now, bishop to g2 check, king to g1, bishop into f3, check, king to f1, bishop to g2. Actually, Morphy did a little yo-yo here. He didn't play bishop into f3 check. He first played bishop h3 check, king h1, bishop g2 check, king g1, bishop into f3 check, king f1, bishop g2 check, king h1, bishop h3 check, king h1, and now he played bishop into f2. Okay, now he played bishop into f2, and now actually there was a win earlier in this position. See, here it started. There was a win in this position. Pause the video and think. There's rook to g2. Now rook into f2 check is threatened, and rook into h2 is threatened. So if you defend the rook into see, if you play here queen, okay, if you play here just queen to c4, then rook into f2 check, king g1, rook g2 check, king h1, and then this beautiful rook g1 mate, and also king f1, rook g1 mate. This was a quicker win, but in the game Morphy just here played bishop into f2, and now queen to f1. White has no other choice opposite to sacrificing the queen, because now the threat of bishop g2 mate is inevitable. c6 is also defended. That's why bishop into f2, queen f1 has to be played. Bishop into f1, rook into f1. Although black is here 2 pawns up, black can finish this game right away by playing rook e2. Oops, not rook e1, that's a bad idea. Yes, rook e2. Now rook e2, idea of rook e2 is that we control this file, and now there can be threats, dangerous threats with rook h6. So now comes the reason of why this rook a2 move was bad. Now the rook is pinned, so white can't play d4. Imagine that in this position, rook a1, king h8, and yeah, let's say rook a1, and this was white to move. Okay, rook h6, rook a2, rook g6, rook a1. Okay, so rook ge6, rook a2, rook de8, rook a1, rook a6 here, here, and here. Okay, so now it's just for illustration purposes. What if here after rook a1 it was white to move, and now d4, and although it's still winning, white has now counter play rook into a7. But if you go to the main position, what happened in the game, white has absolutely no counter play. White is absolutely screwed in this position because you can't do anything. So bishop rook a1, and now rook to h6. Now rook to h6 with the idea of moving the bishop, and then rook into h2. And now after this rook h6 move, d4 was played, attacking the rook. And now what should you play? Okay, now the finishing stroke of this game, bishop to e3, an amazing move, and now it cannot prevent mate. I mean, you cannot prevent mass material loss, at least a loss of a rook. That much big material loss it is. You will at least lose a rook in here, and that's why he just resigned after bishop e3. Amazing game by Paul Morphy. So the only takeaway from this game is this queen d3 idea in the opening. Whenever your opponent weakens such squares like d3, you should not hesitate, calculate a little bit, but mostly play the move because it controls just the queen side, and the bishop on c1 was very bad in the whole game and it wasn't even touched. So okay, this was the game. I hope you like this video, and don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell icon. Thank you.